Guys, another movie comes out this week and not getting so many great reviews, unfortunately. But I'm one of the people that actually enjoy this one. Hey everybody, this is David, and today I'm going to be talking about The Legend of Tarzan, and I am going to say that this movie is nothing like the animated Disney film from 1999, which is one of my all-time favorite animated films, definitely up there in the top 25. But I am going to say it is not an awful movie. I don't think so, anyways. I actually thought it was an okay film. First, starting off with this Tarzan character, this kind of it's not an origin of Tarzan. It takes place like years after, I guess, he had already left the jungle and started living with men after being raised by gorillas a long time ago. And he's already married to Jane. They've been living life nicely. And there's this villain that wants to bring him back to the jungle after all these legends about him, because there's this other villain who wants to seek revenge and take down Tarzan once and for all. So the movie is essentially kind of like a road trip, I guess, a very long road trip at that. And there are a lot of boring parts, I'm going to admit. The movie does drag a little bit here and there throughout the movie. They do give us snippets of Tarzan's origin, but I feel like the movie could have served better if they had made this story more focused on how Tarzan came to be, because I was really enjoying those moments quite a bit as they gave us little pieces of it throughout the film, and then how it led up to the final battle towards the end with this revenge plot situation. For the most part, I felt that this movie was more of a character study on the character of Tarzan and who he is and how he came to be and how the world, or Jane and others, view him and his stories on how he became what he is. That's what I thought was that's what I took from this movie and thought, okay, this is interesting how they're playing around with this character. It's not how I would have thought they would have went, but I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed listening to these stories about the character. I will say that a lot of the characters in this movie this is a really serious film, and with that, it's not total serious. You got Samuel Jackson there playing, this out of whack character, I guess, who goes on this journey with Tarzan and Jane into the jungle to stop Christoph Waltz, who's playing the main villain, a villain that you've probably seen him play many times before. Samuel Jackson, though, is the comedic relief, I guess you can say. And in many ways, he feels like he's the only character in this movie who feels like he doesn't really belong in this setting. But for what it's worth, I thought he did bring a little bit of laughs, so it was fine. I did really enjoy Margot Robbie as Jane Foster, or Jane Clayton, I guess. Yeah, apparently Tarzan's name, when he moves to the city, he changes it to John Clayton, which was, I believe, the name of his father, so he named himself John Clayton II. I think that's how it went. And which is interesting to me, because as someone who grew up with the Tarzan Disney animated version, John Clayton was the villain in that movie. So I'm like thinking, isn't John Clayton like the villain? Why is he taking the villain's name? But then I have to remind myself, okay, this is probably more based off the books, because Disney for sure took liberties and changed things around. And with that being said, I had to forget all that. I will say the CGI I felt was a little weak too. I thought it was okay, but when you compare it to movies like The Jungle Book this year, which had amazing CGI, you realize some of the weaknesses in this movie, I feel. One cool thing for my fellow Legends of Tomorrow fans is that Vandal Savage is in this movie. I saw him and I was like, what? What is this guy doing in here? He's an actor, duh. But yeah, just thought I'd throw that out there for anybody that watches Legends of Tomorrow. and watches my reviews for those. Just a nice little cam or role to look out for. Another thing that I was always looking out for in this movie since the beginning was the famous Tarzan yell. You know, that famous sound when Tarzan swings or he's in the jungle somewhere and you hear that yell that he always makes. That I'm not even going to try to mimic it because I'll do a horrible job at it. But yes, he does it like twice in the movie, so that was pretty cool to hear. With all this being said, guys, I am going to say Tarzan was a good movie. I thought it was good. It wasn't great, wasn't horrible. It was okay. It was good. Like I said, it was a little slow at times, but for the most part, I think if you don't mind a little nice character study on this character, I think you'll be okay with it. To me, it really starts off slow more in the beginning, but as soon as he gets back to Africa and the villain's Christoph Waltz starts to make his move, I feel that's where the movie starts to pick up a little bit and finds what it's trying to do and be. So with that being said, I will recommend this. I think it's worth checking out. I don't know, everybody's different. I know this movie is getting terrible reviews right now, but like I said, I thought it was good. I was awake the entire time, which for me is usually a good sign, because if I'm like dozing off, this is not like Independence Day Resurgence where I was like shaking my head the entire time wondering what the hell I was writing. I thought the writing in this movie was not perfect, but it was tolerable. So I would say check it out. And with that being said, guys, if you've already seen The Legend of Tarzan, tell me what you thought of it. Do you think I'm crazy thinking that this was a good movie, or do you agree with me? Are there other fans out there that thought this movie was pretty damn good and not as bad as what critics are saying? I don't know. Everybody should be able to share their own thoughts about films and shouldn't always follow what the critics say. Sometimes critics are right. I'm not going to brush that under the table. But sometimes there are people that will be indifferent on certain films. And for me, this was one of those films that I think maybe they weren't wrong, but I feel indifferent about it. So that's just me. Maybe I'm dumb. I don't know. So until next time, guys, subscribe to my channel, like this video, and check out me on Twitter, Facebook, and check out my podcast. And with that being said, take care.